Okay, this is the first time that I have ever been live, but we are officially publishing. We are good to go. Okay, so now everything on my website is live, all the new updates, which means new work, and then also new video of a concrete casting that I did, which is also a studio visit. And everything else was updated too. So, pretty excited about it. I don't really know what to do in a live thing. This isn't like my normal bag of tricks, but I figured since we're all stuck in quarantine, we could still do the things that we love to do, which is share art and talk about the work we love to make. So if anybody wants to say hi or anything, I'm just going to be bopping around talking to the dog, as is my practice, and talking about my art. So if anybody wants to send any questions in the live chat, I can talk about them and answer them. Until then, I'm just going to show you all my plants. So we have Blanche, who's come to the party as well. She's become one of my few contacts with the outside world. She is a particularly sassy Boston fern, and we're having a good partnership. We've got a couple brown leaves. We've talked about it. It's hard. You know it's hard. And now I just wait for Carolina to finish crunching so that I have someone else to talk to. Dog. Okay, alright, we'll show the dog. Hello, Melissa. And this dog, this is the Carolina dog. Hello, Carolina dog. Welcome to the party. She's all fluffy and bathed specifically for the live video. We've got her little bed all set up, just ready to go. She's ready to join the party. You want to party, Carolina? Is it a party? Oh, Carolina, everybody loves you. It's true. So that's the exciting thing here. This pup, she's been giving me some very, very constructive criticism about my work, and it's nice having a studio mate. She comes to the studio with me. She lets me know when my too much gene takes over. She also lets me know when it's time for a break to go into the world. So I think I'm going to start talking about spaces. I had this idea because everyone is talking about spaces, so I guess it's not really a new idea, but with COVID sort of taking over the world and our world's kind of being contained to this little slice of heaven or hell that we've created for ourselves, and it's just become more apparent to me how much our spaces mean and how much changing those spaces and making them a part of our lives in a really impactful and considerate way can really make a difference in terms of our practice. One of the things that I do is I'm very intentional about my spaces. So I'm going to give you a little panned area of my office. So I don't have a lot of space, but I like to make use of my space that I have. And I like to be surrounded by plants. So I'm very specific about how I curate all of my spaces. I think that it gives you a moment for breath, and I think that everything that we put into the way we make work and the way that we sort of proceed in our day-to-day activities can inform what we turn out creatively. Blanche is saying hi. So I like to have my spaces pretty well curated. This is just a way that I like to be tranquil. A lot of what I do starts in this chair, and obviously the dog is right next door. So I love to sit in the chair, and it's where a lot of my ideas and sort of sketching happens. Before I even go to the studio, I'm doing research, and my old mentor used to say to me all the time that research is a multitude of things. It's not just what we make, it's what we write and what we read and how we interact with art and going to see art and talking about art and everything like that. So the research that I do is also enjoying my space and sort of claiming my space, because a lot of times it's really hard to claim a space without feeling, you know, a little bit downtrodden. So it's nice to start in the way where you've got a space that you really claim and that you really feel comfortable in. And this is my chair, my my art chair. Oh, my sister has joined, my twin. Hello, Poodle. Oh, Carolina's very interested in the twin talk. Carolina, what do you think? She's so suspicious. Also, check this out. She's getting a nice little beautiful mustache. He's so beautiful. Oh, there's spit all over the camera now. Gross. Oh, and Tay Poodle's here, my sister-in-law. So if anyone has any questions or anything, otherwise I'm just going to kind of keep yammering on. If you check out my blog on my website, which is the final tab along the top of my website, there's a new video that I posted about concrete casting. It's like 4 minutes long, and it's kind of just a really brief step-by-step synopsis of the work or making concrete castings. And I just chose like a two-dimensional block. Ashley's she's making me blush. Ashley, my twin. So anyways, the concrete casting is largely a two-dimensional casting. It's just like a flat rectangle. But what's important is it kind of gives you the basic premise of how concrete casting works. So it's on the blog. Just click it. It links to YouTube, and it should be readily accessible. Ashley asked me who is my inspiration. In terms of artists, there's a large gamut of artists that I really respond to and who inspired me. Hi, Heather. Hello. The curator from BCA is on. It's very nice. So Eva Hess, Louise Bourgeois, Magdalena Abakanowicz, Martin Purrier. All of those are artists that I'm really, really into. Oh, Abby's here too. Hi, Abby and Heather. So my favorite piece in this new collection is probably Sex Object or Cherry Twist. And that's because I feel as though a few of my previous bodies of work are finally coming together. It's like you build this toolbox over time when you're making work and you're an artist. And it's like you think that it's hard to disenfranchise yourself from the way you think, I am this kind of artist or I do this kind of thing. And it's difficult to get away from that idea. So I am really glad that I was able to leave some ideas behind in my undergrad that I was like, I really am interested in, but I wasn't really sure how I wanted to tackle them. But I knew how to do some things, such as with like latex and fabric and things like that. And over time, I've just been adding to this toolbox. And now I feel that adding all these elements to the toolbox has created this way for me to collaborate and continue my own types of work. Hi, Catherine. So it's definitely Sex Object because I'm trying to marry the ideas that I used to have, mostly focused on gesture. And now I'm using other elements and materials to discuss the gesture in sort of a continuously whimsical way. You had to pick one piece that connects your past work to this new work. Isn't it funny when you can make yourself as ugly as possible? Yeah, so the piece that probably I think connects them is this piece called Gut Reaction that I did in my undergrad thesis show, and then a piece called Stacked that was in my thesis show. And these two pieces sort of each punctuated the type of work that I wanted to make. And it's like, you have to make all this work before you make the work that you really wanted to make. And as an artist, you're always sort of chasing that. You have this thing in your mind that you've always wanted to make. And it's hard because you're frustrated that you can't just get there. And so I feel like those two pieces, Gut Reaction and Stacked, were culminations of what I was kind of trying to do. And then as my toolbox grew and my understanding of the art world grew and sort of how I make and accepting that grew, I was able to really become a better artist. And that kind of like brought into this new work that I did at Vermont Studio Center. It's crazy trying to like unlearn all the stuff that you thought was important or that you thought you had to do in order to be a good anything. Um, I always thought that I had to have one thing, and it's nice to know that I don't have to be that anymore. So almost all the work, Ashley just asked, are all of these pieces featured on your new site? No, every piece except for Gut Reaction. This is a good lesson in documentation. If you are an artist, you should document your work. I have some old photos of Gut Reaction, but they are not very good, and there's so much so that they will stick out like a sore thumb if they're on the website. When I moved from Buffalo to Rochester for graduate school, a tote, one of those huge, like, you could fit like 3 bodies in it kind of tote, got lost in the move. So you need to document your work, and it's worth it to have someone do it professionally if you can. It's not always possible. I know right now we're in COVID, and if you're making work and you need to photograph it, at least try. You can get yourself a super cheap light kit for like $75 on Amazon. Just do your best. Use your phone if you absolutely have to, and document your work and try to find a way to get it out there in a professional way. Otherwise, you're going to just think about the work, and if it's in your head only, no one's ever going to see it, and that's fine if you don't want people to see it, but if you do, you need the pictures. It was quite a crushing blow to lose that giant tote of stuff because it was a whole body of work. Ashley just asked, is Carolina, your shop assistant, looking to pick up hours in any other gallery? Well, we should ask her. Carolina, are you looking to pick up any hours anywhere else? Ooh, feels like a cold hard no. I think I put her to work as much as she wants to be. She's always getting moved around and scared by the chop saw, so I think maybe she wants to call it quits at our 10 hours. What are we at, like 20 hours a week? She doesn't, she usually doesn't count sketching. She keeps it off the books. Really, really generous of her. Honestly, having a dog at my studio is probably one of the most important things. Not a dog. Oh my God, I said a dog. She goes, the dog. Having Carolina at my studio is probably one of the most important things to my process, and some people find that to be a little silly, but fuck it. I love having her there. She's calming. She's a sweet, loving presence. She reminds me that I have to get up and go out of the studio sometimes and go for a WALK. I won't say it because she's here. Taylor Romanic, my sister's wife, my wonderful sister, said, what's your favorite thing about being an artist? That's like, I think it's a really complicated question, but it's a really good one because one of the best things about being an artist is that, oh, cool, Melissa says that studio pets are good for artistic production. It's true, they are. They're very good company. So it's, being an artist, we're really, really lucky because our passion gets to be the thing that we love and do. And not everybody gets to have that. Not everybody gets to have a thing that they love in their life, that they do all the time. And we're really, really lucky that we get to do that in a creative way. And so I think my favorite thing about being an artist is being able to be an artist, is having the privilege to make art. Because not everybody's given that opportunity, and not everybody has the privilege in their life even to stop and think, should I make art? Can I make art? Is this something that I'm able to do? Is something that I want to do? Being able to make that choice is a huge privilege that I feel that many people don't have the opportunity to get. So I think that's my favorite part about being an artist, is being allowed to be one, and being able to work through the things that I like to think about in work, and talk about society and talk about politics or whatever I need to get off my chest in an artistic way, and then also to share it with people. Sharing art making and sharing creative process in whatever capacity is super, super important. It's the kind of thing that we need to function as a healthy society. Sharing art in any form is always helpful and always productive. And I feel that no matter what level of art appreciator you are or maker you are, you really should be part of the conversation. And so bringing people in who maybe haven't had the opportunity to explore the art world through community art access is so dire in terms of our community being a healthy and loving one. Especially when people learn these new processes, it's a beautiful thing. One of the greatest parts about being surrounded by the arts community is watching people and listening to people and talking to people who have been, sort of told by society their whole lives that they don't really belong in the art world. And then the moment when they're like, oh, well, you know what? For some reason, that's what people told me. But then somebody let me in, and I think that that's really lovely. Ashley, my sister, asked, how would you recommend exposing yourself and exploring new art? I think just going places. I mean, that's kind of a hard thing right now, but like going places can be this. It can be going to my website. It can be going to a virtual tour of BCA. It can be, getting a library book or an art book and sort of like letting your mind wander into these new spaces and maybe trying something that seems like maybe I won't like that. It's kind of hard to tell what you're going to like unless you look. We don't really know what our tastes are or what could encourage us to think about things more unless we explore them. And that's like that kind of research I was talking about earlier. The research is about trying things that maybe you thought you didn't like. I used to think I would hate Richard Serra's work. I just assumed Cold Rolled Steel was boring and silly and sort of overdone, but it's because I dismissed it, and we shouldn't dismiss things that could change even a little bit of our mind. So it's really important, I think, to not dismiss and to let yourself grow and give yourself permission to grow in order to expose yourself to a change. And that could lead to new art making. It could mean that you didn't really like it and you were right the first time, but maybe you aren't. And maybe you're not right all the time. That was hard for me to learn. I still am always great at learning that, but, we do our best. Ashley asks, can you talk about mixed media and sculpture? I love it. I love materials. A huge part of my artistic language is just material based. I just want to take materials that seemingly don't make sense and put them together in a way that is harmonious yet confusing. And I think that offers a lot of language and sort of discussion opportunities for people to come and look. People who don't have any experience in art, they can at least say and look at a material and say, like, I have a little bit of relatable experience with that material, whether it be like tile or rebar or fabric or latex or whatever. It's a way to sort of bring people into the work and orchestrate a discussion, at the very least, of this gestural unification of materials. Mixing your medias in sculpture is one of the most fun things in the world, because with sculpture, you don't have any rules. The only rules are, don't stop making stuff. So you can bring together materials that you never thought were things that existed in the same plane. For instance, I use quite a bit of table salt when I do some concrete castings. And of course, it's not as functional because it can't bear weight because the salt crystallizes and causes open cavities, but it creates this beautiful glittering effect. So it's really it's really fun to let yourself wander and sort of combine materials that don't really make sense, and then you come upon some gestural interaction that sort of changes your way of thinking. Taylor asks, is there any of your art available for purchase? Yes. All the paintings and drawings and fiber are easily for sale. The sculptures are also for sale, but, I recognize that many people don't want to put 1,000-pound concrete block system on their living room floor. I mean, maybe you do. If you do, I'll be there with a cart and some nice work gloves. It's a difficult, tricky thing selling your artwork because you have a lot of different factors coming into play. You know, what's the emotional value? What's the actual value of your time? What's the value of the materials you put into it? So it's an interesting sort of like slippery slope. Lily, hi Lily, future roommate and platonic life partner. What is one material you've wanted to work with but haven't yet? That's a great question. I have a short list. I've really always wanted to work with Bondo. Um, it's it's a contracting material that's used to like patch stuff, but it can also be molded. So I thought that would be pretty cool to use. And I would really like to work with glass and maybe more fiberglass. I did a little fiberglass, but it'd be cool to work with something that is light that you could build up to a large size like fiberglass or cast glass. The fragility of glass is something that's a little bit tricky, but you know. I'd also like to work a little bit more in steel, so I could make larger, outdoor sculptures. I just went to the sculpture park in Cornwall because there were no humans there, and it was nice to walk around. Um, it's really fun. This is the kind of thing you can do in Vermont because we don't have a lot of humans here. So going to the sculpture park, I didn't see another human face besides the person I went with. And don't worry, been following good quarantine rules. And so you go, and then you're surrounded by sculpture. But I'd love to work in steel and maybe some more permanent materials, such as steel, stone, fiberglass, that I could have as outdoor sculptures. It's been a while since I've gotten to make one. And the last time I think I made one was in 2017. I was in the Sonnenberg Gardens summer art show. I got the award. It was really cool. Really made me real happy. Danielle, hello. The sculpture park is near Cornwall, Vermont. It is by Route 7 and like the intersection of 7 and 74. It's like not huge, but it probably is like 2 or 3 hours of walking if you take your time. There's like trails all up and around. It kind of like, if you're just driving by, it kind of looks like a weird, suspicious field with like, honestly, one of the pieces looks like a massive concrete vagina. And so like it kind of looks like, and you're like, oh, what's that? I don't know. And you keep going. But if you go up there and the sculptures start to reveal themselves. Christina Coletti, one of my coworkers and friends from BCA, says, can you talk about 15 weights? Yes, I would love to talk about 15 weights. That piece is on my website also. Hold on, I need a little sip of lavender cider. Okay, 15 weights is a piece of, so I'll describe it first. There are 15 concrete castings, all suspended from the ceiling at a few inches height from the ground. A lot of them compress, not spritzy. It's Citizen Cider lavender cider. It's very tasty. So they're all suspended above the carpet, and some of them are squishing the carpet. They're all dipped in paint. So what I was thinking about, and what I think about a lot when I make artwork, is the visceral gut reaction that comes from living a certain life. And I recognize that my life, and I'm grateful that my life has so much privilege. I recognize that, and I'm very appreciative and grateful for the leg up I've been given in my life. Just being a middle class white woman. I get it. I'm grateful for that too. But being a woman in any kind of society really is really hard, because every day there are a lot of subtle cues, a lot of things that maybe you wouldn't consider if that wasn't something you lived with. Something that if you, this is a classic example, but it happens all the time. I've even had it when I was teaching students, male students. I would say something and lay out a rule, or maybe say like, don't cut foam with a saw on your leg because that's where your femoral artery is. And then somebody, generally a male student, would say, actually, I think you can do it for this reason. And then they would contest me in front of the classroom, and it hurts. That little stuff hurts. And it might have just been out of a lack of respect for teaching or something like that, but stuff like that happens all the time, talking over you. I'm so tired of being talked over. I'm so tired of being told I'm little, or because when somebody tells you you're little, you feel little. You feel like you don't deserve all the space that your body takes up. And it's harsh and hard, and each weight there's a weight associated with each of those little blows, and it grows over you. You end up carrying all this weight around. So 15 weights for me was about the gut reaction of just carrying all of these little indecencies around with me all the time. And anyone who carries little weights knows that, a little at a time is all right, and, you can laugh it off so often, but after a while, they all get really heavy. And then they just start lining up around you, and you're surrounded by weight. And I feel like in sculpture, you have a unique opportunity to really speak in the round. You have a way to speak in a way that is visually more present than other things, because it takes up space. And when you take up space with sculpture, you're saying, I deserve this space. And I feel like sometimes I'm not given the opportunity to have my own space. And sculpture really makes me feel like I can do that. I can take up space and I can say, this is mine too. And I want to share. But, not everybody wants to give everyone a seat at the table. And, we all have to eat. So, it's, I feel that way about a lot of the work I make. It's a lot about the gut reactions that are associated with just a little injustice or even a big injustice. In my past, I've had partners who were very unkind to me. And, those big weights, they carry something too. And then you have this visceral gut reaction where you're like, oh, that really, I don't know what to do with this. I can't do much with this. All you can do is really scream when you're by yourself, because what practicality do you have in fighting those little battles? So a lot of the work I make is like that. And Christina Coletti, she says that I like some of the weights are lifted. I appreciate that, because I also wanted to illustrate that, they're heavy, but you can do it. So, anyone else have any questions? You can do a brief Carolina break. I wish I had elevator music. I don't know why she always chooses the floor instead of this luxurious bed. He always sits with her head on over the side too. Perfect time for some spirity. Has anybody got to check out the website? Or have any work that they enjoyed from it? Okay, time for a plant break. Let's talk to this beautiful lady. This is a silver pothos, or part of the Scindapsus family. Look how big these leaves are, and girl, she glitters. Yeah, I love the silvery plants. Oh, cool, okay. Lily, thank you for saving me from my musings. They're not funny. When you start making larger scale works, do you have a concept in mind? Usually I just have a form in mind. And a lot of artists I feel like are really good about drawing like their plans out, and like they have an intention that they really want to set. Mine, I just sort of want to my intention that I set is usually just a feeling. And so I work from that feeling, and that feeling sometimes elicits a gut reaction that sort of informs the gesture, which informs the materials, which informs the rest of the shape and everything like that. Does the work find you as you play with the materials? It absolutely does. And I think when we pretend that that's not part of the process and we know the whole story the whole time, that is just a load of malarkey, because we have... we're fumbling our way through the situation a lot of the time, and we just know what feels good and feels right. And it's upon examination that we learn how to talk about the art and learn how we, like, what we actually meant. And intention is important to look at, because it's like, your intention is great, but unless you're there to talk about it, it can't really be the only thing the piece stands on. And if you're focused on, at least in my opinion, if you're focused on the intention being the most important thing that everybody gets, then you're sort of setting yourself up for failure, because everybody's going to have their own reaction to the work, and you should allow them, if you're going to show it out in the public, the space to have that reaction and that to be just fine. Oh, look at all these comments. Cool. Let's see. This is how I look at my phone. If my phone was scared of me, it would just see this. Like a lot. Oh, it's all the plant Instagrams that I follow. Okay. Thanks, Melissa. I appreciate that. I'm trying really hard to get better at the website stuff. It's kind of hard when you don't have a computer brain to, like, know what the contemporary stuff is. If you're curious and you aren't sure what the contemporary stuff is and how your website should look, or other bric-a-brac like that, I recommend taking a tour of all of the major contemporary art galleries around and use them as your guinea pigs. I did a lot of research looking around to see, like, what kind of fonts are people using? What kind of this are people using? What is the type of, comment boxes? What do they look like? Lily asks, if you could show your work anywhere, where would it be? That's a great question. I have, so Air Gallery for sure in Brooklyn would be a dream come true. My employer, artist Barbara Zucker, she started it in the 70s, and it's been around ever since. Very vital and so exciting. And then there's Woman Made Gallery. I've always wanted to show there. I've tried like twice, and you don't always make it. I'm sure they tell you that in grad, so they don't tell you that, but you don't always make it. I can't even count how many applications I submit every year and get rejected. But hey, you got to keep going. I guess I would also like to be at a sculpture park. I would like to be able to have a large piece that is sort of like in the world and be very present. So like the two small time galleries, not small time. They're big and like important. It's just, they're not like MoMA sized. If I ever got into the MoMA, I think I would just pee my pants and die. That would be incredible. Let's see. Andre, I thought, there we go. You did, yeah, I did the website myself. It took a long time. Like, you'd think my phone looks scared. My computer thinks this. Fuck. That's what it sees for hours. Melissa, yeah, tried so hard. Maybe one day they'll love me. Let's hope. I'll say a prayer to Lilith. It's hard applying to shows. You gotta have a really thick skin, because it's not really about you. It's more about what do they need for the show. And I've been a juror, and it's not easy with all of these people applying. You're just like, look at all this amazing work. I wish I could accept it all. Melissa and I are in Politics Art Coalition, and we have been so grateful and fortunate to have 4 iterations of our juried art exhibition, and each year it gets even more difficult to jury the work. It's just like, you think that you've seen a huge body of beautiful work, and you're like, okay, we got through it. It's good. And then you see the next year, and you're like, is everyone just getting better, like, all of the time? That's great, but, like, whoa, this makes our job so hard. It's really fun, though, too. And Taylor, Tay Poodle, I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, this year's work was so amazing. It was at the Yards. On my website, there is a link to all of our Politics stuff, like our social media and our our little website and our Facebook and like Instagram, stuff like that. If you have an email, you can email me a question about it, and I can kind of keep you up to date. Politics is crushing it as always. I'm so grateful and fortunate to be surrounded by such amazing artists. We've got like Reb, Aisha Gaduk, Melissa, she's here in the chat, Tina Starr, Christina, Christina Kaiser from the Yards. We're all together. It's so exciting. We're always at least at the very least, and it's not worth nothing. It's not a least kind of thing. It's like, at the very least, we have a little group who can support each other, and that's worth so much more than I could possibly. It's people, I feel, are always before art, but art comes with people, and it's nice that we have our little politics group that are just there for each other. Oh, Lily says, if you could meet any artist and have a conversation with them, alive or dead, who would it be? Oh, Bill, you've got me. This is like, it's hard with artists because like you kind of want to talk. You know what? I feel like my mood's always changing, but I feel like Louise Bourgeois, because what I really appreciate about her work was she didn't assign it to a level of preciousness. And she could always, like, I watched this this video filmed of her, and she had this sculpture that if it had gone to, a contemporary gallery somewhere, it would have probably fetched a hefty price. But she threw it on the ground and said, I don't like it anymore. And it's just, it's important to know that the stuff we make is important, but it's not precious, and it came from us, and we could do it again if we had to. But it was a moment in time, and that's fine that it's gone. Taylor Romanic, my sister-in-law, aka Tay Poodle, she says, what do you hope to do with your art in the future? I could pretend that I don't know, but if any of you know me, I'm a bit of a planner. And I have a plan. I don't expect to be wealthy or make money from my art or anything, but I would really, really like to have a solo show. And I've found that planning for the 5-year future is a little bit better for me because I don't really like to go beyond that. So I suppose in 5 years, I would like to have had a solo show and done 2 more residencies. And I'd like to grow as an artist, and I'd like to continue to be someone who gets to know herself. Like I said, a lot of the time we tell ourselves these truths that come with what it's like or supposed to be a certain kind of person. And I'm just trying to unlearn those truths. And I'd like to learn more of my own truths that are, of course, very strongly laced with kindness. And I just want to kind of be a better person and artist. And that's my big plan. It's not that, I guess, outlined, but you all don't have the color-coded binder. One day maybe I'll show you. Catherine says, how have your recent life changes affected your work? Good question. My recent life changes have affected my work in the way that I have learned to become less apologetic. And that's not because my ex-partner and I weren't able to be honest with each other, but I think when people change or as we grow and become the people that we are, we give ourselves permissions in different ways. And if you grow up with one person and they're your partner, you sort of become open to a little bit of change because you have to be. You're working with someone. And I feel like the big thing is that I'm learning how to be myself, and it's changing my work because I'm giving myself permission to do my own workflow, to be like, I really want to go to the studio after work today, and it's, I'm going to go do that. And I don't have to consider anything else besides my dog and I just have to consider myself. And it's really changing how I approach the world, in terms of dating or anything like that. It's like a little hard with COVID, but, seeing somebody, the person I'm spending a little time with, I've learned that it's really wonderful to spend that time, and I'm grateful for it. But it's also becoming easier for me to say, this is what I need, because now I know that I need this to be happy. And, it's important to be able to stand up for that. And it's nice to be able to do that in a framed way where the people in your life are able to say that that's something that they can do. The changes in my life have been big, but I feel like they're all good. And I really appreciate being able to thrive in those changes and all the humans that have really helped me grow through those changes. It's been really great. To be honest, I have no anger or resentment really towards the situation, because it's just really it's just really eye-opening. And how lucky is that in the world to be able to be given a chance to learn yourself again. I never thought I would get that. And here we are. We're learning. Excellent, excellent Spice Girls reference, Taylor. This is how it is now. And it's like, this is the deal, right? And it takes a long time to learn what you want. And so sometimes you forget how to ask for it. But fuck. If I'm not going to do it now that I have the real opportunity to really be who I am, and now that I know what that woman looks like, she's here for good. This is turning into a PSA. More cider. Ooh. Carolina's guarding the castle. Would you like to see her guard it? Carolina, who's here? Look how fluffy her tail gets when she gets mad. It's like a little cotton ball. Look at the buns! There's a heart shape. Look. Her buns are heart-shaped. Even her buns. Ugh, it's glorious. Yes, Tay Poodle. When you come visit, if Citizen Cider is open, which is the type of cider that this is, they do flights. Which, girl, you know I love a flight. Also, I love lavender. Who doesn't? Yeah, buns. Does anyone want to meet another plant? Let's talk here to my Roja Congo philodendron. This is just one of the leaves. This girl, she is snazzy. She is ready for the party. She is pushing out a new leaf like a fucking champion. Ugh, we love that. We love that. Yes, philodendron. This is like a huge tropical. I thought it was gonna bite the dust as soon as it got out into the cold Vermont air, but she's bounced right back. Carolina, why are you crying? So, what are you all making? Let's see Blanche. Okay, Blanche, you sassy thing. She watches over me while I sit in my thinking chair. What a sassy lady. Does anyone have any suggestions? What material should I try next? Honestly, besides industrial materials, I sometimes forget other things exist. I recently started painting. Melissa, I started painting. I can't believe, I thought I would be so bad. I mean, I'm not great at it. It was really hard. But I figured out that I could just do it, which I know sounds crazy, but I thought I couldn't do it. I just was like, okay, it's not for me. And then I just did it. I just made one, and it was okay. I mean, it wasn't great. She had her problems, but her sisters were better. So, if you all don't know, Melissa is an incredible painter. She makes the most beautiful, big, small, all of it. She's just she has this insane eye for detail and gesture, and just the gaze that's communicated in her work is incredible. Oh, Mimi. Oh, Raina. Hi, Raina. Raina is one of our lovely BCA volunteers and also a very prolific and interesting artist. I recently saw an excellent piece of theirs with a delightful raccoon. Well, a series of raccoons. There's several of them. They're always up to business, you know how they be. I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by so many incredible artists. Just to name like, obviously Melissa. She's on this live thing, so you could find her that way if you like. But I have so many wonderful artists in my life, and it's like Christina Kaiser. She's making all of these beautiful assemblage, painting pieces. We have Reb. It's not just prints, but she's also been making clothing lately. And that's another thing about permissions, where we forget it's okay to stop making the thing that we made for a while and do something else for a bit. You can come back to it, or you might never, but it's okay to just sort of branch out and say, like, oh, I think I would like to make some clothes. Or recently, I did a watercolor of my plants. It was not good, but I did it, and it was fun. Oh, Melissa wants to see Reb's print. Such a good print. This is all of us. We're in here. Oh, such a beautiful print. I think this one with the bangs is me. That is KK, Reb, Lindsay, Mimi, and Tina Starr. It's a great print. I also have a Christina Kaiser original right here. Very sexy, very sassy. It, keeps things fresh. Wish I had a Melissa piece here. Maybe one day. What else? Oh, I've got a great art tour. This beautiful Medusa print I got at an art fair in, whatever is it, Ontario. This piece, Alyssa, I can't recall her last name at this minute, but she was in the clay department at RIT. She made this lovely piece. It's very cool because it's so, like, thick. This piece was one of the Politics show. This piece was in the Politics show circa, I want to say, like, 2017. It's a great piece. Colleen Buzzard. Oh, my God. I would love more of her work. She's incredible. Let's see. Oh, here is a printmaker from Vermont. Little mortuary flower. My teeth. I got this set of antlers. Hi, Mom! From some guy in a barn, and he was like, good thing we need more hunter ladies out there. I was like, I'm a vegan. See. I'm taking a lot of my art down because I'm actually moving to a new apartment. This is Theda Bara. She's a silent film actress from the 30s. Print from Revolutionary Press. It was a collaborative piece. Oh, this is fun. Some skunk jawbones I found in a nice little box that Lily gave me. This piece, my good friend Tina Rott made. It's one of her little girls. Little concrete lady with some wire. It's wrapped around a piece of carpeting. So many things are materials. That's why us artists are pack rats. Because anything can be used as a material. And Melissa, I saw that, and I'm going to take you up on it. We can definitely trade. I can't take any of the heavy stuff to Georgia right now because of COVID. I'm sorry. My mom is here. Hi, Mom. What is this live thing is hard. I'm like, kind of feel, I don't know, like, weird. I don't know what to do with my hands. Oh, also, Rebecca's partner, Becky Reedman, Beck, made this beautiful piece, too. I love this piece. I bought it at a show that Sabra had in the Hungerford when I was in Rochester. Hi, Mom. So, woohoo! We only have 10 minutes. And it's all I don't want to be here with you guys, but, like, she's a nervous girl. Does anyone else have any questions? Mom, what did you like best? Oh, Carolina has come in. She's come back. You all want to see her? Carolina break. Carolina? What? 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 Auntie Liz is here now. Remember BC, your brother? Do you remember? Carolina has a brother named BC, and his mom and I were roommates once, and she was going to get BC, and that was always the plan, and I came with her. And then someone handed me Carolina, and everything changed. As you might know, I'm obsessed with her. You might remember one of the Yards residents, Joey. This is a portrait that Joey made of Carolina with no prompting, just after meeting her, and just brought it to the studio one day when I was a studio member at the Yards. And I was like, obviously thrilled because I'm obsessed with her. So great. So great. Pretty soon, I think it'll be time for a second Carolina tattoo. All of the tattoos of Carolina. Maybe I'll just get it on my face. Why not? It's really tough in COVID, right? I feel like I'm trying really hard not to be sort of like bummed out by being alone all the time. I mean, Carolina's here, and she's great. But it's hard. That's as soon as I saw her, as soon as someone handed me Carolina, and she was 4 weeks, they were both 4 weeks old. She used to sleep on a washcloth on my chest, teeny tiny little thing. And I just was like, I have to take her home. She did this thing. She knew what she was doing. She was like, oh, I can smell a sucker here. So she like climbed up right here, and she like nestled in right under my ear, like where my earring is. She went and fell asleep. And now, this bitch, she is 10 and a half. 10 and a half. Carolina, you're 10. Little Sagittarius baby. Yeah. It's been wonderful having her as my companion. It's interesting, too, that she's been through how many studios? Like, she's going to answer me. That's what quarantine does to you. Like 5 or 6 studios. Hopefully this one lasts for a while. I have been trying to moderate how much I go there. There aren't a lot of people that work out of the building. There are a lot of people that work out of the building, but there aren't many people in my area at a time. I'm trying to be responsible, the face masks and not go in as much, so I try to limit it to 2 days a week. And then I do oodles of sketching and drawing, and I have my little projects that I like to work on. Because creative energy doesn't have to just be the thing that you say that you do only. I'm working on an embroidery right now, 2 rugs, and I'm embroidering a pillow, too. It's kind of fun. It's been cool, too, because I'm learning new embroidery techniques, like French knotting. That's hard. Very hard. My sister-in-law recently sent me a present of a embroidered hoop with plants hanging. It's very pretty. She did excellent French knots. A little artist in her own right, Miss Taylor. So I wanted to take a little bit of opportunity now that things are winding or coming to an end, and I wanted to speak a little bit to those changes in my life and how that's influenced everything that's happened with me lately. I'm getting divorced. It's not an easy thing to deal with, but it's fine because it's not fine. It's just I'm just really grateful, very grateful for the people in my life, my mom, my sister, Taylor, my friends, my art friends, anyone who's in my life, like people I work with. I feel really lucky, and I recognize that luck isn't something that everybody gets. And the people in your life, not everybody gets that, support. That's not something that everybody is given. And so I guess I'm just really, really grateful that happened for me. And I really appreciate all of you being there and helping me and doing the things that were hard, whether it be helping me move or just letting me cry or sitting in my studio with me and making art at the same time, or going on a walk with the dog, or talking to me on the phone, or sending me letters. I really appreciate the kindness that my community has shown me, and I think that that's part of what makes us artists good artists. So thank you so much, for all of it. I don't really talk about my feelings much. It's hard for me. So I'm kind of stuck at that spot. But I really do love and appreciate the people, all of you. And I'm really grateful. And I hope that I get to continue to show you how grateful I am for your love and support for as long as I am a human on this earth. So that's the whole thing. If you all want, I have all the new stuff on my website. Please feel free to message me or email me or Instagram or whatever. All the social medias and that bric-a-braca. Please reach out. I'd love to talk to you. So I hope you all have an awesome night and that you are having some hope in this crazy time of COVID. And I hope that you've enjoyed this virtual opening. Who knows what's going to happen next, but I'm glad that we all got to sit together in at least some kind of way and talk about art. I'd love to hear more about what you're doing. So let me know. I love you, and I'll have a good night. Say bye, Carolina. Carolina, say goodbye. Okay. I think she's had enough of Instagram Live. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.